Are you able to pivot at a moment's notice in your business? Welcome to the Red to Black podcast with Werner and Mario. Mario, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Werner, pretty simple. If your business has to shut down because a tariff gets applied to aluminum coming out of China and you can't pivot, you have a horrible business. Never be in a situation where one edict from a organization or a government is going to destroy your business. Always be able to pivot.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at Afghanistan with what recently happened, I being an ex-Marine, you being a current Marine, it's really like people are like, oh, this sucks. This is we spent so X amount of years in that country. So many people lost their lives, lost their limbs. I mean, we know individuals, you know individuals. One thing that we really want to talk about in this type of environment is to always watch out for the environment in which you're working in. Never just sit like, as I used to say as a pilot, or we used to say as pilots, is fat, dumb, and happy. Always be willing to pivot, because the Americans that didn't get out in time, they're now in a nightmare situation. And the reason why I'm comparing this situation to the business world is a lot of people in LA and New York and Hawaii experience that same, not on the same level of like security, but on the same level of financial security. They experienced their financial security literally gone like that. In Afghanistan, their actual physical security gone like that. So what we're saying is, as business people, is always be on point. Like you're flying an aircraft, like they always say, when you're flying fat, dumb, and happy, you're one accident away from death, because you could have like a compound emergency, which is multiple things in your aircraft, creating an emergent environment where you don't know which one to handle next. And it creates this overload on your mind. How do you overcome that? By constantly training, by constantly thinking, if I'm in this situation in my business, what am I going to do next? Like we talked about with our buddy up in Wyoming, he's got a battle file. Always have your battle file. Always be ready to pivot. We can't say that enough. Just always be able to move, shoot, move, communicate. Mario, your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to give the listeners some real practical advice on how to pivot or how to do a pivot drill. Number one is always be networking. Always be learning about other people, what they need. Always be on LinkedIn. Always be banging away on social media. Warner and I are constantly on social media. We're constantly learning about other people, asking them how they're doing. Just calling your friends, texting your friends, using your time appropriately. When you're sitting at a traffic light, when you're on an airplane, when you're stuck in a medical office, be banging away on social media or be contacting your friends. Number two is get small. Have little or no debt in your life. Zero personal debt. And if you're going to use some debt, non-recourse debt in your business, keep it small. Keep it less than 100% of your net income. Number three is have multiple streams of passive income coming through your business or in your life. Have lots of different angles that you're working income streams. Don't be tied to one customer or one income stream. And lastly, is always produce more than you consume. If you're consuming media and not producing media, you're wrong. If you're consuming food and not growing food, you're wrong. Always be growing and producing way more than you're consuming. If you follow those four strategies or four kind of key areas of your life, if you're kind of constantly working on those four areas, you're going to be able to pivot much more. 99% of people are not going to be able to keep up with you on a pivot drill.
Yeah, those are four powerful areas, and we did a podcast about 10 minutes on those four areas where we did a deep dive into it. But yeah, those are super important, because the key aspect of developing relationships is you're constantly keeping the language of what you're doing. So Mario and I's language is creating financial freedom, learn how to invest in, buy or build highly profitable businesses that pay you to own them. When we put that phrase in our friends' minds all the time, it's like living, it's alive. So if we ever hit a road bump, they're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're doing. I know this guy can help you here. We can go here. You're keeping the relatedness, the conversation open. That's a key point as a business individual. You're constantly staying in touch, because you know how it is. If Mario and I just came, let's say, onto LinkedIn, and we're creating this other business, let's just say in the future, which we're looking at doing, and we want to raise money, right? And we just come on and say, hey, do you guys want to give me some money? Everyone's gonna be like, I don't know who you are. Even your good friends, I don't know what you're up to. You never share anything with us. Now you just come on to ask money. But if you're continually, staying in contact with them, it creates this relatedness that's very powerful. And then all the other things, go to our other podcasts, which I'll link below, to tell you about how to really improve your financial freedom. Any other thoughts, Mario?
Yeah, just real quick. Right now, we have more people reaching out to us in our network looking to come on the podcast and be interviewed than we're not finding people. We're not actively out there trying to find folks now. Other people who have been interviewed on us or that know us are like, hey, talk to this guy. Hey, you should interview this guy. Hey, you should meet this guy. People are actually introducing us to other folks. And we did that through cultivating relationships with other people. And now it's in their mind. It's like real estate. We own some real estate in their mind. When they think about financial freedom, when they think about investing and buying or building a business, they're thinking about the Red to Black podcast and they're reaching out to us. So it works 360 degrees in your life.
Yeah, and that talking about that real estate in their mind, it's more of like we own it together with them. I don't want to get this thought that we're just ramming our, because some of them are going to be listening to this podcast, that we're ramming what we want into their mind to get this one-sided sort of like, you give me this, but I'm not going to give you anything. It's like, it's a two-way street. Anytime they need anything, we come together and figure out a solution for them. So it creates this back and forth, which is more enjoyable anyways. When you're just like taking, you'll feel empty. So when there's this back and forth, this collaboration, it creates a really cool environment. And now, how does that apply to a place like, let's say, Afghanistan? Well, I don't know the situation of the 1,000 Americans that are there right now. They're probably, I would guess, a bunch of them are actually like native Afghans that became Americans and they went back over there. That's what I'm guessing. And there's a whole host of other people that work there. But that's why, like, let's say you're just there as an accountant or an analyst. That's why you want to develop friends with individuals in the human intel department or maybe the ops department, right? Direct ops, or I can tell you more about that. And the reason why is because then when things start happening, start going kinetic, you have feelers out there and people will tell you what's going on. This is what's going on there, and the individuals being stuck there. Some of them are maybe stuck there because of medical reasons. They couldn't get out. There's just no way they could leave. And then other people are stuck there because they didn't see it coming, and other people chose to stay there. Everyone's got different reasons why they're still there. But the point is, if you were in that situation there and you wanted to get out, how do you do that? You create those relationships ahead of time and you develop a plan. Hey, I'm in an emergent environment. What are my steps? My bag's always packed. I have a get out of jail, or what's that other bag? Bug out bag, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, bug out bag. It's always ready to go if I can't get back to my place, but you plan it out. This sounds kind of crazy, and I know I'm getting elevated. What my point is in a business, the guys that do the best are always thinking about what could go wrong. They're not thinking about the best case scenario all the time. They're thinking about what could go wrong and the best case scenario, and they're putting them all together and they're filtering and choosing and deciding, do I go this direction? Do I go that direction? And that's how you pivot. Any other thoughts, Mario?
Nothing to add. Warren, appreciate your time.
Fired me up on that one. Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys for listening, and we appreciate your time and your efforts to listen to this podcast.